the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.
Hello there, many thanks for joining us on Razep Africa this beautiful morning. Again, we will be discussing everything Africa. We're focusing on one of the most pressing issues facing our beautiful continent, peace and stability in Africa. Its prospects, its challenges, and the role young people and institutions play in shaping it. Africa has the youngest population in the world, with youth making up a significant percentage of its population and growing rapidly. Harnessing these demographic dividends for peace rather than conflict is both an opportunity and a challenge. Yet across the continent, youth are not only disproportionately affected by instability, they are also at the forefront of peace-building initiatives, community dialogue, and social transformation. I am very happy today because with us in the studio is Ambassador Moses Abolade, Executive Director of the Peace Education and Practice Network, a peace-building advocate, writer, poet, and trainer of young peace builders. He does so much more, but this is the much we can have on the show. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you so much, Joy, for having me.
Ambassador, this is your turf, like I was telling you before the cameras came on. This is your turf. This is what you've been doing. So it should be a beautiful conversation.
Yes, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm sure that we'll have a good time discussing
we should
peace.
have a good time discussing peace, but it's time to go for a very short break. When we come back from that break, we'll get to the crux of the matter. Remember, we are discussing peace in Africa and how young people can help face these challenges and bring solutions. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.
Welcome back from that. Like I told you earlier, we have an ambassador who is a peace advocate, a writer, a poet, and trainer of young peace builders here in Nigeria. And his work has transcended many parts of Africa and the world, really. Ambassador Moses Abolade, again, I welcome you to the studio.
It's a great pleasure to be here.
Right. I mean, when you look at Africa as it is right now, and you hear all the stories that we hear, unfortunate stories, of course, making it look like Africa is a volatile, security volatile continent. We are not, we have conflicts all over the place. What comes to mind as one who loves Africa the way you do?
Thank you for saying I love Africa.
Because I know that you do.
I love Africa. I love Africa leadership. And I really hope that we can recalibrate and go back to looking at the root causes of our issue. So the best place to start is to identify the issues itself. And I believe we have a lot of people that doesn't even know the journey of how we got to this point. And if you don't know where you're coming from most times, you might end up not knowing where you are going.
True.
And that is why Africa is a blessed continent with a lot of complexities. And the first thing is to know that Africa is of diverse culture, diverse countries based on external influence and all that. And a lot of diversity when it comes to languages, when it comes to interest. So those things ought not to be our doing, but most times when you have resources without education, most likely you will become a victim of your own resources. Because scarcity of resources has really hampered a lot of things in this continent.
You said when you have resources without education, that's a problem?
Yeah.
You think that's one of the problems Africa is facing?
Yes.
We have resources that we do not have the know-how to manage.
Yeah.
We'll get back. I'm just trying to understand your thought process.
One of it. That's
right.
one of it.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And it's a major one. Because if you have education, you can identify how to manage something and how to discover it in the first place and how to use it well. So if you don't have the capacity in every kind of way now, it might even be non-formal way.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you don't have the right knowledge, the right skills to transform your resources into power, then you might become subservient to other, how will I put it now? International space is a space for the survival of the fittest. So if you are not knowledgeable, if you are not empowered to actually help yourself negotiate properly, you might be at the mercies of people who know how to, even when they don't have the resources you have.
Well, in your conversation, you could already know that one of the things that spiked and got my attention was when you said education, when you have resources without education. I don't know, that boiled my heart because I know how educated some of our leaders often are really across Africa. I know the educated population that we have, and when you say education, it brought me back to what indeed is education that you mean, because if it is the formal classroom education, is that what is required for management of your resources? Because before that came, Africa was doing good. Africa traded intelligently. Africa harnessed what we could harness our resources intelligently before this formal education, before we let aside our traditions and cultures and our way of life to embrace foreign traditions and all of that. So what do you mean by the education that's necessary to, manage resources that we've got?
I was not referring to just schooling. I was referring to education of knowing this is what the problems are. This is the resources to solve those problems and help us utilize it as much as possible. And also protecting and exchanging those things for value.
Right.
Now, if your education, and when we talk about education, as I said, Africans are we have our own ways of learning before colonization came in.
Absolutely.
And we were doing well. But after that disruption, to a lot of people, it's been an epoch. I'm trying to look for a... So
I mean,
it's a pain that never goes away. However, we ought to have... we ought to be between that time. We also know that there's a lot of things in between neocolonization and a lot of things. However, Africa needs to come together to identify major problems. And when we're talking about major problems, it's even the ability to identify the problem. Because most Africans or most Nigerians or Africa in this parlance, we did not understand that the people that colonize us, they are very, very strategic. They are very, very intentional. They are very, very organized. Now, to remove that colonization, or to decolonize an African mind, we take another kind of education in a way that you don't want to damage while trying to decolonize. You want to purge away. And you are not just purging away everything. You are picking and harmonizing information in a way that will be useful for you.
Absolutely.
For the other people or for your own generation that is to come. So, as an African, we have been victim of bullies across the globe. However, at this time we should be self-aware to say, oh, this is what we can, this is our problem. Nobody will come and save us.
Exactly. I mean, you just called, you just said we have been victims of bullies.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I think we are very intentional. We've been very selfish. Because
Africans?
Africans have been very selfish and very self-centered is what I actually want to say. Because when you call them, you could call them bullies, but they have Africans colluding to make us victims of what your term bullying is.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry for cutting you. So the fact that somebody in our house connive with a thief from outside to destroy us doesn't make the thief innocent.
But it makes the member of the house...
we'll deal with our own household.
Have we been able to deal... Have we been able to effectively deal with our own in-house so that other thieves would understand that this is a no-go area? If all of us, like my father's favorite word is, if everyone sweeps the front of their home, the whole country will be clean. If you have these good intentions for Africa, and I have the good intentions, and somebody says, listen, I'm going to make sure you and your family are fine, but in the community, I want to get something that's meant for the community, resources that community would have probably benefited from, but no, I'll make sure you are fine. I'll make sure your children study in our best universities across the world. I'll make sure all of this, but just allow me access to this commonwealth.
Okay.
And you do that.
So let me come from the peace building angle now, which is addressing the root cause of an issue.
Absolutely.
The question is, why are Africans the way they are?
How are we?
No, this description you gave now, which is a contemporary reality.
Right.
Now, before then, how were we? African culture is the one that embraced other people, and other people took advantage of that. We must acknowledge that.
Okay, we are hospitable, we are accepting, we are receptive of people, which is not a bad thing per se.
It's just that the global balance is not very receptive of that. They don't value such. If you are weak, you cannot really deal on the international scene.
Right.
Because they see hospitality as weakness.
Right.
Everything is about interest globally. So,
absolutely.
And that is
it's a dog-eat-dog
and that's not the African culture.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So that disparity in our own worldview and the global worldview, really, that caused a major issue. And we don't have this sense of superiority complex in real sense. You've not seen African go anywhere to say we want to dominate anywhere.
Or take over another country from another country.
And but that is historical. And I'm just trying to set this background,
precedent, right,
so that we know we understand why some things are the way they are. And for us to address them without pointing blames at people we should be empathetic with. Because most people that we are saying, they are a victim of a system and of a decay, a long history of decay, and a long history of people taking advantage of their goodwill and all that. But that is in the past. Currently, issues of education. The major thing is the education that can identify problem and now give you the structure to go and take charge and deal with that problem. For instance, if I had known, and there are some things I did not know before going to school,
okay,
I would have preferred to have discovered, if I were to be myself now, 20 years
knowing
ago,
what you know now,
I will have observed that, oh, we have issues of mining, we have issues of geology, we have issues of environmental issues, we have issues of poverty. Those are the things you will now go and study for.
Okay.
Not just because...
First of all, what did you study?
We'll go back.
No, I want to know. I want to know because...
I did peace and conflict studies for my master's, but we'll talk about the first degree later.
Because there's this very popular pastor who has been who has one particular time when he's quite popular. He said something. He says, your father is not a politician. You don't come from a wealthy home. What business do you have studying politics or studying history? Is that what happened to you?
So my story is a bit different.
Yeah, there are problems in every sector.
Yeah.
Frankly, there are.
Yeah.
And I don't think, just like you say, I agree with you where you say that we have not been intentional in our education,
yes,
where we have relatable issues, or we have subjects and courses or whatever that address the relatable issues that we have.
Yeah.
But again, this is something I would like you to address, where we have an alien curriculum that we embrace hook, line, and sinker. Over the years, nobody has done anything about it. Countries across Africa, governments would tweak it here and there, but it is the same old thing. It does not address. In fact, the curriculum was one that solved the problems of the colonial masters when they came.
Yeah.
And we have not come together to say, this youth demographic that we have, what are the jobs of the future, so that we address the relative issues that, and I'm happy you raised that issue. Yeah,
so beyond, you mentioned something, come together. One, people will not come together if they don't feel that the system is just, the system is inclusive.
Absolutely.
That the system is developed and is interested in them. So, and the issue of justice is so central to our constitution because just like you said, we are building over a foundation set by colonial masters for their own purposes. And we have not at a really larger extent, aside from confab, which I was aware of to an extent, come together for national interest. And even the confab, we could see that it was not used. And that is for Nigeria. Now, for Africa, generally, we know that, one, Africa is a larger span of land. While we might disagree and we might understand that the Berlin Conference did us a lot of damage.
It did?
Yes.
By bringing us together?
It doesn't bring us together, it divided us. Berlin Conference divided us in 1885. The Berlin Conference... You
don't believe in the boundaries that were...
Yes, I don't believe. It's not like I believe it's an external intervention that is wrongly done. You cannot decide for a people.
Absolutely.
And that's a bullying. Absolutely. That's a bullying I mentioned. It's a superiority mindset for you to even think of going to a place without thinking of them and dominating them. By the way, it's one of the things I'm working on.
Are we really that weaklings?
We are not.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not weaklings.
We are not.
Because we have, over the years, again, it goes back to what we perceive of ourselves.
Yeah.
We want to sit here and ask for aid and ask for loans and afterwards ask for loan relief.
No, so
At all times we are giving off the impression, the image that we are weaklings. Please come solve our problems. Come help us. Come give us aid. And then when they now come, we say, oh, we are being bullied and it's a superiority complex that they have.
So normal African would have preferred to grow their own things and trade like a partner.
Absolutely.
Normal African society before colonialism would not have really been thinking of relying on people.
Even international trade was also very rife.
Yeah.
We had our international trade. It may not be in this this complex or way that you find it, but there were inroads into other parts of the country, other parts of the world.
We have a way of doing our business and trading and doing economics and everything, and even educating ourselves.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of educated minds, very brilliant people before the interventions, which was wrongly done. But that mistake is not something we should now dwell too much on, but it's something we should not forget. That's my point of all this background.
Right.
Now, so currently, what is our situation? We need to do a proper situational analysis, which has to do with why are we here? We are here because we are who we are by nature, Ubuntu kind of people. I mean, from the African lens now, we welcome others. We feel to be so receptive, and we are not so sure of the intent of the other person. So now what happened then? And that's why, if you've noticed, I've been doing some history lessons on my status, trying to educate people on
where we came from,
yes,
right?
And the situation, so that we don't repeat those things. Like I posted things about Patrick Lumumba recently, and I had a lot of comments, and people were like, oh, because I was saying, what would he have done differently? So we need to learn from history, not to lose our good men.
Because unfortunately, it is when we lose them that we now create statuses. Today on air, we are talking about him.
Yeah.
But again, the black man colluded. The black man colluded. So, if you check the chains and the hands that held him down, he was no white man.
That's what we are saying. And that's the analogy still stands. The fact that Jesus has 12 disciples and we have a betrayer among them doesn't mean that an external factor that make it happen should not be blamed. So we might also betray ourselves. We have coup that are done by internal people. We have greed and issues of
we
have that. Nobody is denying that. But also we are saying that at this point, when we know that every human can be like that, we need to just set system to cushion or to caution our greed, our wickedness, our sense of trying to accumulate wealth and take power.
Stay in power.
Yes,
take power and then stay in power, remain in power.
They call it Sittitism.
People don't want to. So now, that's a beautiful terminology I have learned today.
But the thing is, we must address this issue by understanding how did they come in the first place. When did Africans start feeling like they should acquire and acquire and acquire? Why do people acquire and they are more interested in acquiring? Because one of it is the uncertainty of tomorrow. Two is the fact that they begin to see comparative advantage of other people. In normal Nigerian before 1980, based on history and based on things, just prefer to just have their house and a car and no problem. But when a particular government came on board and there was devaluation of Naira greatly, and other counterparts were going abroad, and when they come back, the money looks different and things that begin to change. And
I realize that
these people are living like this, and those are some, not all, some of the reasons why people now began, and that curiosity starts becoming the way or the culture of how they think.
Absolutely.
And from that issue, from that concern of, you want more money, you want to show. And most tendencies of Nigerians in particular, we have this attention-seeking lifestyle. initially. So, but it built up from that.
Attention seeking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in a way that we want to know, let people know.
We are naturally larger than life.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're naturally, we come to a place and you will know an African, a Nigerian.
Which can be good, but also, and that's a self-awareness that should come. We must know how to balance it.
Okay.
Now, but going back to issue of identifying our problem, most of us don't even know our problem. One of our problem is that we have educational issues, just like we're saying. Not just the Western education in that sense. We don't even know our own history. We don't even know where we are coming from. Because if you don't know where you are coming from, how will you know where you are and where you are going?
Absolutely.
And how can you learn from those historical figures? And I'm so glad that we have content creators doing a lot of great job. They are making our work easy. We teachers, you know, so we just play their skit and teach from those content. People like Redding, people like Mimi, doing a lot of job in delivering history in a very interesting way. We need to improve people like that. We need to support people like that. People need to know where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
From there, they will now get their identity formed. And if you know who you are, there's nothing you cannot be. There's nothing you cannot do. And if we get that settled, we can now be talking of, let's come together to revamp our curriculum. I have been in the educational system before coming into peace building for more than 7 years. I've taught almost every level of education, primary, secondary. I had a tutorial center at a point. I taught a college education in Benue State. I've done several things here and there. And I can tell you that if we pay attention, if we can also support teachers, to a point that we cannot just have the classroom thing, because you're paying a teacher even something lower than the classroom delivery, you cannot expect such teacher to be thinking of curriculum development.
True.
So before you think of curriculum change, development, and to bring in people that know about the curriculum first and who have prerequisite training, you need to invest in education. It will be a long way, but that is the first place to start. Building a curriculum that fits where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are going. To understand the situation, and I told you why are we here, that's the first situational analysis, then what are we here to do?
Absolutely.
Are we, if we can have that and we can set our priority right, education that can deal with leadership, that can help us to be morally conscious, that can help us to be ethically sound, that can help us to be very strong intellectually, and not just cognition now. We are talking about something that will touch our heart, that will help us to really understand that you cannot, even as a student leader, which I was, you cannot do something, and you will start training it from there. I was a student leader all my life, all my student life, from University of Ilorin, even before University of Ilorin to University of Ibadan to service here. In all the processes, how did I manage my leadership position? So if I'm now contesting for anything, they should be able to now track it back. And if I did not do well in those places, they should not
be able to come back and say, you know what, we don't trust that you can manage this. You're president and all of that,
and
or
that
antecedent.
Self-awareness for self-leadership is what can transform, because one of our, so now you see, education is background to develop our leadership.
Right.
Because if the head is correct,
every part of the body will be fine.
Will be fine. If not totally fine, at least you will know that at least my head is correct. So identifying the problem, building people that will be able to identify more problems in a way that you cannot do a project. The first chapter will be, the first thing you will do is, one of the things is problem statement.
Exactly.
Which is the major thing in chapter 1. How many of us can even identify problem properly? Okay,
I like where this conversation has gotten to, Ambassador. But it's time to go for a short break. When we come back from that break, we'll get into the crux of the matter. I mean, you know the demographic of young people in Africa. So when you hear that, how does this demographic cause conflict, or can it even enable peace? We'll also go into the root causes of this conflict. We'll get into it, especially in Nigeria, where it seems like there are dynamics to it. Maybe there's peculiarity to the kind of conflicts that is in the West, the North, or the South. But we'll be right back after this short break. This is still Razep Africa. Stay with us.
Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.
If you're just joining us, this is Razep Africa, where we've been discussing peace in Africa, youth leadership, governance, and sustainable pathways. And we've been discussing all of this with Ambassador Moses Abolade, Executive Director of the Peace, Education, and practice network. that skipped me for a minute there. Thank you so much for the contribution so far, but let's go straight to, is it that the youth demographic, Africa is a young population, and one thing that we have is energy, is innovation. Is that why we have conflict? Because people say it's because of the young people we have in Africa. What would you say when you hear often that, well, it's only natural that, young people, there are a lot of young people, so you're bound to have a conflict?
Well, 2, 3, 4, 5 truths can exist, which means the fact that we have a young population is an advantage for us generally.
Right.
And another thing is for us to know that young population come with a lot of things, energy, talent. Now, I tell people it depends on what you want to see. Life is about perspective. Now, I might see this camera or this space as a dangerous zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I might, depending on my...
It's perspective.
Yes, I might believe that, Joy is a bad person.
You never can say that one, you may be right about it.
But when I get closer, another experience or information might be gotten, and definitely who is good to A might be bad to another set of people. But for me, the same population have been very, very positive in this whole scheme of things. I'm a young person. I believe you are. And most of us are. And most of us, without real support, without real engagement, we're thriving, we're doing our best.
Right.
You are putting this show together because you have a passion for this and you are interested in impact. Now, there are tens, there are thousands of young people like you and me doing their best, contributing. Most of the time, nothing was given to.
Yeah, with nothing to start with as a springboard, we just try. And that's the African young person with energies.
Also, that is the kind of story we should talk more about.
Absolutely.
Now, do we have young people that are being used? Because even if we look at it, for that population, is a dependency population, meaning we depend on other people. Who are their parents? Those are the questions. Who are the guardians? Who are the mentors? Who are their teachers? I do tell people there are no really wrong students when I'm teaching teachers. I teach teachers for different states and on peace education and media. And most times when I teach teachers like that, I do tell teachers or people who are participants that we don't have wrong student. We only have inexperienced or unprofessional teachers.
Right.
If you're professional, you should not see a student as a problem.
You would absolutely know how to reach this child. But look at how populated some of our classrooms are, and you expect a teacher to understand how to reach this child with the peculiarities that this one is posing. Let me know how to. But that's just me digressing.
That's a challenge, and those are things. That's another set of problems that is beyond the teacher. But if you see a good teacher, even in large classrooms, you will still see that this is a professional teacher. You will still see that they understand how to create an atmosphere that can ensure real learning. So regardless of other factors, and even to know a better teacher is to know he is not in a fancy classrooms. To know a great teacher is in the challenges, can you actually rise above them? Can you actually still deliver? Can you still get an expected outcome after your process of teaching? I told you I've taught several, I've taught in places that you will not believe, and you will not believe that they might have such outcome. But the truth of the matter is, it is in the hand of the facilitator, is in the experience and the knowledge and the skills of the facilitator to change the attitude and behavior of even the people that will now change that system that make it wrong. I used to tell my teachers then, and I used to tell the people I teach, I used to tell them that one of the people I'm training to will become policymakers tomorrow.
So it matters to you to be very conscious of what you're hammering into their heads.
When you become leader, you will not become this kind of leaders. And you let them know that this is a wrong type of leadership. This is the right kind of leadership. This person is doing it well.
I mean, speaking about your peace building training, I mean, that seems to be something you're passionate about. All the conversations still go back to the training that you have with young peace builders.
Not just young people.
Not just young people, but peace builders. My question now is, have you found among the young class that come, among the young people, do you find really interested individuals, young people who want to, make a change, be true, genuine peace builders and advocates, and do work within their communities in understanding the warning mechanisms in the communities and also community reconciliation? Do you find really genuine students?
Nigerians are good people.
No doubt.
And passionate people, and energetic people, and interested in good stuff.
Absolutely.
If you package your content and you're a very good people and people can identify that you know what you're saying, Nigerians are so they are so attracted to quality. For instance, yesterday I was training volunteers. I trained them for more than 5 hours, and I can tell you that in the process of that training, there was a time I was even saying, let's stop, and they said no, because, and these are not just young people, they are married people among the volunteers.
When you say they are not young people because they are married, don't start that conversation here. This is Africa.
So sorry about that. So sorry.
This is Africa.
They are elderly people.
Right.
And we have younger people there, but I'm saying that we did goal setting for the year. I trained them on goal setting for peace building. We did a lot of values, and we try to do personal goal planning for each of them. And when we get to a point, most of them, they could not but say, oh, this is just amazing.
Right.
Now, my own kind of training, what I'm trying to build is not the normal academic kind of trainings that is so fixated on just the theory, early warning system. No. What we are trying to do, or what I'm trying to build for PepNet, or my organization, is to build something so solid that people can see themselves in the entire plan. they can see how do they
Fit
come
in, right.
You know, people will say people are not interested in what you're doing. No. Have you designed it to actually meet people's demands? Somebody is hungry, somebody is trying to survive, and you are teaching them peace is this, peace is that. No. The first thing is to even ask questions from those people. What are your goals? What are you looking at? What are your plans? What are your major challenges now? It doesn't mean that you will solve it for them. But you even listening to that will help you to know how to help them structure their whole life so that they can now be interested in whatever information you want to give them.
Absolutely.
Because most times we start teaching peace from an external, interpersonal, you know, but if
and not relatable to what you're facing. But I mean,
if they don't have inner peace,
you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah, will be a problem.
But let's go. Let's talk governance. How effective would you say that African governments have been in mainstreaming peace, infusing it in their policies and national policies and all of that, especially when we talk about the African Union's Agenda 2063 and the Youth for Peace agenda as well. Is it showing results? Are we there yet? Are there workable efforts? What should we concentrate on that has ripple effect?
Okay. So for Nigeria, for Africa?
Africa.
Okay, good. So I was in Kigali in September, October for the African Union, African Wise Youth Network consultation on diplomacy, mediation, and peace processes.
Right.
And in that experience, I also was on a panel to discuss some of the work we're doing. But aside that engagement has given birth to me seeing some of the other challenges and the major challenges we should be dealing with. One, can we actually reduce these border concerns? Is it possible for us to break this border thing? African Union should be serious. And I'm really serious about what I'm saying. I know they are trying with our meeting and converging here, doing training here. And I shared a speech on the delegate platform early this year. We must move from paper to implementation
and impact.
Now, our leaders, it's good that we are gathering, we are meeting. If not for the program, I might not meet some people that we're now planning on a sub-project now.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a project, is a subsection of that program. Now, with the project is African Visa Access Program. Visa Access.
That's within the continent?
Yes, within the continent. And we're starting let's even start with West Africa. Can we reduce visa fees or even eliminate or remove visa fees from ourselves when people are going for educational or conference-related programs? Because you need knowledge pollination.
Absolutely.
At this time should not be a time you should be thinking of money over education or knowledge. So, and it must start from Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the most difficult places to come.
I read someone's research and was appalled really that it is so difficult to have, and this is a country that has so much in hospitality, so much in tourism, to encourage tourism. We have countries that do not have oil and depend on tourism as the largest contribution to their GDP. I agree with you.
So if we can settle the issue of border, because that's the first thing. Now, we were talking about the historical issues, the Berlin Conference concerns. These people intentionally divide to rule us. Why can't we remove those divisions so that we can have an easy access to? It should be easy for you to want to do a business in Mali. I have somebody reach out to me. My outfit, they really like it. When I went to Tanzania, and my friend said I should send it to Burundi. Do you know, to transfer that clothes to Burundi is more than the price of the cloth itself? And for a lot of things, I'm even tired of how will I send this material. Now, if that did not work out, how will I think of turning it into a business? to say, oh, I want to be exporting to Mali, I want to be exporting that kind of
that brings us to after the African trade agreement, where free trade agreement, where we were all celebrating. For once, we would see that economic activities within the bloc, or rather the continent, and so we're excited. This is what will now give shape to the work and all of that. And here we still are currency. We still have not addressed the uniform currency that was part of the conversation.
For West Africa, language is also on that. But let's finish about border. Now, if we can deal with border very well, remove, and you should look at other ways of, if your thinking is a way of generating money, you will generate more. Like for instance, now when I go out to do a program in, let's say, in Rwanda because it's visa free, or I go to Kenya. Now there was a program we ought to go to Morocco for, but a lot of things. We even got visa, but there are issues. Now we are taking the resources of that program to Kenya because its visa is easier. Now we will spend our money there.
You may not have spent the small money you would have paid for visa fees and all the stress that comes with it. But
when we went to Rwanda,
you pay hotel bills.
We spend things. And this money is bigger than the visa you want to call it. I just believe that our leaders are not thinking forward.
Right.
Because if you are just concerned about the temporary money you get and you are thinking of, and the excuse people will say that our borders are porous. For who? The same people that are coming for educational programs, I will now go and pass the
Mediterranean Sea to come back.
That's not logical.
Right.
So, African leadership, we need to be conscious. And again, we must rework how we get, how people are being appointed to positions at the African Union.
Right.
We must also evaluate and investigate how people are being selected for different positions. Because when you listen, not just African Union, there are other organizations that hold strategic authority on some things.
Right.
And they are just talking. Now, you have a lot of people, and we must move from talking to action.
Exactly, because a lot of excuse when you hear, although we hold strategic positions we are the bloc leadership, West Africa, the African Union, and all of that, you hear people say, but countries also have sovereignty and cannot gazette some of...
sovereignty, but America had to come here to
save us.
While African Union cannot take such responsibility
for other countries,
because the funding channels are also, they're also not us.
Okay. Well, for young people, because we really are running out of time, and while the conversation, I am enjoying it. Unfortunately, yes, we really need to come back again. But finally, what are the actionable advice you have for people who are watching us right now, and who who want to be peace builders as well, not just in theory, of course, but in practice?
Okay. Like on Saturday, I still went out to do personal peace building project. You don't have it to be so mapped out before you start something.
Right.
If you see a problem, identify the problem. Reach out to the people who are... I saw an environmental degradation, a place that is so messed up with debt and all that. And I reach out to the people who are involved, talk to them. How can I come in? Then I know they do the cleaning too, but maybe something happened, they have not been able to do it for a long time. Can you do it? And I told them.
Absolutely.
And I said, how much can I use to support you to pack it? What will it cost? And I paid the cost. And they did that. The place is still cleaner till today, to the best of my knowledge. And it's not a big project. So the idea, and from that, we'll be doing something else on 24th now, which we are planning already. To do a proper cleaning in that locality. You don't have to have the entire money in the world to start something.
Absolutely.
And that's what I would say. I can say I have literally nothing. I mean, when it comes to...
I don't know who you're comparing yourself with.
No, I'm just saying. But when it comes to identifying solution, God has helped me. The major thing is identify a solution and talk less.
Right. Action more.
Ask questions. What can I do? What can we do? How many people can come together? Have an ecosystem of change. People that know what to do And we not just talk. It's good to talk.
Absolutely.
But it's also because it helps us develop our skills and help us build momentum and all that. It's good to
And
talk.
there are times when it's good to talk
yes,
too.
when we come together, just like we are talking now. But after this talk, you can take a step. Join a volunteer for an organization. Right. Join a piece of. I think you're part of PepNet community, right?
You think.
So join communities that do things around peace building. If you cannot do it yourself, you'll be able to get information. But before you start doing things, I will tell you, get knowledge first.
Get knowledge.
We have a lot of people that are on the field or looking for, I want to do this. Passion is good, but get knowledge first. When you get knowledge, you will now know clearly
what you want to achieve.
Yeah, what you want to do. Absolutely. And how to do it well.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Moses Abolade, Executive Director of the Peace Education and Practice Network. Thank you so much for being part of the program and discussing not just in data but lived experiences. Thank you for participating in this.
Thank you so much for having me. I would love to be back.
Oh, I absolutely will bring you back. But like he has said, peace in Africa is a shared responsibility. You too can do your part. And youth are not just for the future of peace. They are active makers of peace today. So if you're a young person, do your bit in your community, in your small space, and participate in ensuring peace in Africa. My name is Dr. Joy Aswaye. Thanking you for watching. Until next time, have yourself a wonderful day.
Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.